holding my newborn daughter against my chest in a stained hospital gown. I thought the heavy exhaustion of a 20-hour labor was playing tricks on my mind. My grandmother stood tall in the doorway, completely ignoring the beautiful sleeping baby and staring directly at the unpaid medical bill on my bedside table. Her voice cut through the sterile room like sharp eyes, asking if $300,000 every single month was not enough for me. I stared at Abigail in absolute silence while my mind raced frantically to process that staggering and unbelievable number. My body was broken from 2 days of intense physical labor, and I had spent the last few hours quietly crying over how we would afford the basic delivery fees. Garrett had assured me for months that our finances were dangerously tight, forcing me to budget every single dollar just to survive. I looked up at my grandmother, my throat completely dry from the hospital air, and told her the absolute truth. I told her that I had never received a single cent of that money, nor did I even know the account existed. Abigail did not hesitate or comfort me with soft, hollow words of pity. She immediately pulled out her phone and ordered her personal attorney to gather every financial record and come to the hospital. Hearing that massive amount changed everything I believed about my marriage to Garrett and the life we had built. We had met at an elegant charity gala 2 years ago where his polished charm and seemingly stable career in corporate finance made him seem completely dependable. He had the exact kind of face that made older women call him respectable and younger women call him safe, which made the deception even more terrifying. Shortly after our wedding, Garrett suggested combining our assets into a single household account to streamline our monthly bills and savings. He claimed his professional financial expertise would protect us from unnecessary stress and automated banking fees, so I willingly handed over complete control. Slowly, the banking notifications stopped coming to my phone, and my access to the accounts vanished under the guise of digital security and financial efficiency. I trusted his smooth, comforting explanations completely because he always promised he was protecting our future and our growing family. Whenever I questioned a declined card at the local market or asked about our emergency savings, Garrett would smile and tell me to stop worrying. He insisted that married finances move differently and that I needed to trust his complex system rather than overthinking the daily numbers. Meanwhile, my pregnancy became a stressful, exhausting exercise in extreme deprivation as I stopped buying new clothes and secretly switched to generic vitamins. I constantly felt like a financial burden to him, completely unaware that millions of dollars were flowing directly into his hands every single month. I skipped medical upgrades and prenatal massages, believing that we were genuinely struggling to pay our mortgage and keep the utilities running. The financial pressure became so severe that I took a late-night inventory job at a local warehouse during my 3rd trimester. Standing on frozen concrete floors for 6 hours under harsh fluorescent lights was agonizing for my swollen ankles, but Garrett praised my work ethic. He told me that my unique ability to sacrifice during hard times was beautiful, making me feel valued while he stole from me. I actually felt proud of my exhaustion, foolishly believing I was helping my husband keep our family afloat during a difficult quarter. While I survived on pennies and counted coins at the grocery checkout, my mother-in-law Miriam began visiting our home more frequently. She always arrived wearing expensive designer coats and elegant new jewelry that she claimed were simple finds from local estate sales or vintage boutiques. Miriam always made passive-aggressive comments about how simple my tastes were and how lucky I was to have a provider like Garrett. She claimed her lavish lifestyle was the result of careful planning, and I never suspected the dark truth hidden beneath her smiles. The pieces of the puzzle were right in front of my face, but I was too blind and tired to see the active exploitation. Everything shattered completely when Garrett and Miriam entered the hospital room an hour later, carrying cheap supermarket flowers and false smiles. Abigail did not waste time with pleasantries and instantly demanded to know what happened to the massive household funds she had wired. Garrett froze in his tracks, his confident smile turning into a calculated mask as he realized his golden goose was finally trapped. He tried to explain using complex jargon, claiming the money was tied up in complicated offshore investments for our collective long-term benefit. I looked at the man I loved and felt a cold wave of pure fury wash over my tired body. I told him about my swollen feet, my midnight shifts at the warehouse, and the cheap grocery items I forced myself to buy because of his lies. Miriam tried to intervene smoothly, telling me that my raging postpartum hormones were making me irrational and dramatic in front of company. Abigail stepped between us and warned Miriam that silence was her only safe option if she wanted to avoid legal destruction. That single warning confirmed my deepest fear, proving that the betrayal ran deeper than I imagined and involved his entire family. That very night, I chose to leave the hospital with Abigail and brought baby Hazel to her historic estate in the countryside. The creaking wooden floors and quiet halls provided a sense of safety that I had not felt in 2 years of marriage. I sat in my childhood bedroom and replayed our entire relationship like a crime scene being assembled backward in the dark. The next morning, the family attorney Carolyn arrived at the estate with an enormous leather folder, packed with certified bank statements. She carefully explained how Abigail had faithfully deposited $300,000 every single month since our wedding day. However, within days of each transfer, Garrett systematically routed the cash into a private shell company registered secretly in Delaware. He was draining my family wealth to fund his own business ventures while forcing his pregnant wife to live like a beggar. Carolyn then revealed that Miriam was an authorized user on a luxury credit card linked directly to that secret company account. My mother-in-law was spending thousands on lavish vacations, elite spa days, and expensive diamond jewelry using my stolen inheritance money. The ultimate blow came when Carolyn played an audio recording captured by a smart speaker inside the kitchen of Miriam. I listened to my husband tell his mother that they needed to keep me tired so I would not look at the bank statements. They had calculated my trust, treated my obedience as a renewable asset, and intentionally manufactured my exhaustion to protect their scam. Hearing those cold, calculating words ended any lingering affection I had left for Garrett and replaced it with cold determination. Carolyn filed emergency lawsuits for civil fraud, asset freezing, and severe financial abuse that very afternoon before the courts closed. The legal filings immediately destroyed the professional career of Garrett because he was in the middle of a massive corporate merger. When his wealthy institutional investors discovered the dynamic fraud, they immediately pulled out of the deal and triggered an active investigation. Garrett bombarded my phone with frantic messages, claiming he was only trying to build a massive financial legacy for our daughter. He tried to weaponize my emotions and memory, but his empty words had lost all power over my life. Miriam tried to save her crumbling social reputation by showing up at the front gates of Abigail in floods of tears. She begged for a private family meeting to discuss our mutual dignity and the future of the innocent baby. My grandmother refused to let her past the front porch, telling her that real mothers do not starve the parents of their grandchildren before walking away. When Hazel turned 7 months old, I moved into a lovely small cottage of my own with a bright, sunlit kitchen. I returned to work at a local nonprofit organization and managed every single dollar of my own independent income. The first time I bought a high-quality winter coat without feeling guilt, I wept in my car because I realized the lie was finally over. For more these types of emotional revenge, betrayal, and family stories, subscribe our channel Victoria Silent Revenge. Thank you.